Guess what time it is? It's time for lunch. Lunch with the Clydesdale. What's going on, everybody? It's time to throw a dart. Oh my gosh. Another hole in my wall. All right. One of these days I'm going to figure it out. What's going on? Traint Olive, Lido. What's going on? And Vicky. Glad you guys could be here. Regretfully, we have to start off today's lunch hour. Well, on a somber note for the second straight day. An icon from my childhood has passed away. And today we learned that a guy I watched every Saturday morning and then every Monday night for much of my childhood, college life has passed away. So I want to share a highlight from his career and then we'll move on. So this is voted on as the number one highlight from his career. And it is when the great Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant at WrestleMania.
Look at this. He's forward. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Hulk dropping a big leg. Over for the cover. It's over.
Hulk Hogan passes away at the age of 71. Yes, every Saturday morning he was on my TV set. When I was a kid, WWF aired every Saturday morning about 11 a.m. And while he was never like my favorite wrestler of all time, I respected him for what he did. The iconic leg drop, his wrestling skill wasn't what made him famous. It was the promos. In the early years, it was all the prayers and the vitamins and the, all that promoting the great American thing. And George Wang brings up the Rocky III cameo as Thunder Lips. He was great. He just was great in front of the camera. He got everybody pumped up, ripping off the shirt. Yeah, brother. Yeah, it saddens me that he is gone. It's just crazy. Ozzy Osbourne yesterday, Hulk Hogan today. Crazy. And the fact that he wrestled into his 60s, still did matches, is insane to me. And still, every time he came into an arena, the place went ballistic to the very end. So, cheers to you, Hulk Hogan. Hopefully you're in a better place. And I'm sure details will be released as the day goes on. This just happened probably within the last 30 minutes or so that the news broke. But yeah, just wanted to say goodbye to a childhood icon. And see you later, Hulk. He was not the governor of Minnesota, Shanna. That was Jesse the Body Ventura. And famous for his Predator role. But they were both a little loony on the political side. So who knows? I think they were actually friends outside the ring, but don't quote me on that. But anyway, so that is Hulk Hogan. Now we're going to move into the actual CrossFit space and a couple things that happened in the last 24 hours. The first of those is this showed up on Instagram. If you did not see it, here you go.
This will be my 10th year competing at the CrossFit Games, and it will also be my last. From stepping on the floor as a teenager to growing up in front of this community, this sport has truly shaped me in every possible way. To everyone who has supported me this last decade, my family, my coaches, my fellow competitors, and especially you guys, I just want to say thank you. It's been a wild ride. I've given everything to this, and I'm excited to see what else I'm capable of. CrossFit has given me so much. Now let's make this the best games yet.
So, Brooke Wells says goodbye. Thoughts about that? Because I have some thoughts. It's very weird to me from watching sports in my life of all different kinds of sports. It is very rare that an athlete that can still compete chooses to walk out the door. Most times, athletes are shown the door by their body giving up on them, by their body breaking down, or by a team or somebody showing them the door, saying that their services are no longer needed. And so I find it odd that someone that's still competing at the highest level would choose to walk away. It doesn't mean that she's wrong in it. It doesn't mean anything like that. But most people that do make that choice, i.e. Michael Jordan, i.e. Brett Favre, i.e. end up coming back. George Foreman, Muhammad Ali. My gosh, you could name 8 million boxers that have retired and come back. So I find it interesting that she would make that choice. The other thing is, when you make that choice before the games even start, have you already retired? Does that mean that she'll have a worse run at the games because, well, it's my last? Or does that give you the incentive to go for it more? I don't know. Trained Olive, Brooke trying to steal Tia's thunder before the games. But will she still compete in WFP and other events? Nothing like that is said in this post. So I'm assuming she will, at least for the rest of this year, to complete her contract. Vicky, she finally makes a game shout out to announce her retirement, but hasn't done much to promote the game. Seems desperate to me. And Shanna could be right here. Maybe she just doesn't love it anymore. Maybe the grind is too much. It could be that. I don't know. It's just like, I loved sports so much when I played them that I had to be told I wasn't good enough to stop. You know, you play through high school, I was a 4-sport athlete. I get to college, I start swimming in college, and then I'm just not good enough anymore. Like, I just wasn't good enough. And that's why I walked away. But I loved it so much. It would have taken someone telling me, you're not good enough anymore. And so it's hard for me to then relate to somebody that actually just falls out of love with it and walks away. And I'm not criticizing her for the decision. It's just really hard for me to get into her headspace as to why that would be the case. I personally think with women, it could be to start a family, and that becomes a factor in still being able to do it, but maybe not wanting to compete and be a mother. That is all a possibility as well. Noah announced his retirement from individual CrossFit games and just had fun his last year. Right. And then he came out of retirement to sign with the WFP for a year. Again, still was competitive when he went out. I don't know. She's just sick of the haters. Of course, that did go through my head as a possibility. In fairness, though, 10 years is a long time in the space. And actually, it's her 10th CrossFit Games. I think she's been in the space longer than that because she didn't qualify in 23 with the foot injury at Orlando, at the Orlando semifinal. So she didn't make that one. So she's been in it a little bit longer, even. She may be done with the scrutiny, sick of the Hiller videos, but at least she did acknowledge CrossFit. And then the clock says, did Hiller's online semis video drive Brooke out of CrossFit? I don't know. Maybe that's why she doesn't love it anymore. She's in JR's Crash Camp promo. Okay. She's had an amazing career. If you look at like a male comparison, she's right there with like a Scott Panchik, always in the hunt. Did she, I'm trying to think if she ever podiumed. I thought she fell short, but she may have finished third one year. I don't know. It's hard for me to remember off the top of my head. But very, very comparable to like a Scott Panchik year. And if there was a Hall of Fame, she's probably in consideration for that. She did a lot for the sport over the years. We've all been critical about not promoting the games, but she's not the only one that's not doing that. That's happening from a lot of athletes this year. Always interesting to see if her announcing beforehand takes the pressure off and she competes well. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I remember, I think it was 2016, 2016, maybe 2015, when she first came on the scene as a 19-year-old, and she took the world by storm at semis and marched right to the games, and she was the it girl. It was crazy. It was crazy how well she did, coming in at 19 years old. But anyway, we wish Brooke well. Hope she has a great last year at the CrossFit Games. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. It's crazy because the women's field, you take Tia and Brooke out of the mix, and man, it's young. It's young and up and coming, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that going forward. Look at the people that just missed out this year, the 18-year-olds, the 19-year-olds that are right there on the cusp. Man, it's going to be sick. So, another thing that came out in the last 24 hours is that they announced the demo team. If you did not see this, we talked about this yesterday. From the last 3 years of demo teams, 41% of those athletes are in the games this year. So if you miss the games and you're given the opportunity to do the demo team, man, it's a way to get yourself over the hump to get you back to the games. 41%. That's better than any batting average in Major League Baseball. That is insane. But this year's team will be comprised of Caroline Stanley, who just missed getting into the games and has been to the games twice. Kyra Milligan, you can see her in the middle, and Christine Kohlenbrander, who is right there. Then we have Raf Sanson, who is the captain of the team this year. We have Royce Dunn over here, old Roycey boy, and Nate Ackerman. Nate Ackerman right there made it on the demo team. So I would say for people like Caroline and Kyra and Nate, this is a great opportunity for them to work with Dave, see how things work, test out workouts at the games, and maybe get those little pieces and nuggets that make them better. So congratulations to them for being on the demo team. Judy says justice for Nate Ackerman. Yeah, I don't think this is justice, but he should learn. It should, if he takes it as a learning experience, it can be really, really good for him. Amanda says Nate really needed to be on there. Some great people in that demo team. This 3 are awesome feedback points for Dave too. Yeah. And what's funny is you have Royce, who is just a strength savage, like testing the back squat, things like that. Christine Kohlenbrander, strength savage on the women's side. It's a nice mix of talent. With like Kyra being a great gymnastics person, Nate Ackerman being kind of good all around, and Ralph being a great gymnastics person. Yeah, I think it's going to be great. Is demo team a paid position? I do not know. I know their trip there is paid for, and then they get a kit just like the athletes do, but it just says demo team on it instead of their name. But Carolyn was on the demo team 2 years ago. It's something we can definitely ask her this weekend. I still don't know who the team captain is. Raf Sanson is an athlete out of Mexico. He lives in California now. He has been testing for Dave for years and years, prior to it getting to like the final testing stages. He was a semifinal athlete, regionals athlete for years and years. I think he went to the games in like the earlier years, but Dave has been using him as a tester for a very long time. So, yeah, so he's the captain. He's actually a great pick for a captain because he has worked with Dave for many years. And he's going to understand what Dave wants, the type of feedback he wants. He's going to be able to coach these other athletes to do what's needed and to give the necessary feedback so that they can make the adjustments they need to leading up to the games. It's not Samson, it's Sanson, I believe. Sancen. Sanson. No one's going to understand Caroline. Yeah, she's got a thick Southern draw. But I think she's easier to understand than Ricky Garrard. I'll say that. Chris says they get paid in Schrute bucks. That's high quality currency right there. So that's all the good news about the demo team. It's a great opportunity for the athletes. Again, 41% from the last 3 years have made it to the games subsequently. But here's the thing that sucks about it. Many of these people are associated with camps. They're being given information and intel about events that are coming up, and every year we speculate whether there are leaks about events and things of that nature. One of these members is the girlfriend fiance of a coach at Proven. Caroline Stanley is a athlete at Proven. You have Nate Ackerman and Royce Dunn, who are Mayhem athletes. And it just brings into question the conflict of interest every single year. Every single year. And that's what I worry about with this testing. If you've been watching this show for any length of time, it's something that we talked about last year with Sydney Wells being on the demo team and Brooke Wells being in the competition. How do twin sisters not share information? Now you've got a fiance of a coach at Proven who's coaching a lot of the athletes that are competing. You're telling me that nothing's going to be said between her and, so we're talking Kyra and Kiefer. Nothing's going to be said between them in the time leading up to the games. The only bright spot is I don't think they're even getting to the games until Sunday or Monday. So hopefully by that point, it's not such an advantage that that it makes a huge difference in what happens next weekend. Mark Phillips, release early and often. That's the only way to level it, right? I really do believe that that is the only way to get away from this. Is unknown and unknowable is going to be harder and harder to maintain as we move forward if this sport is to grow. Leaks on leaks. Yeah, honey, we can't tonight. I'm sore from testing heavy yokes. Is that a direct quote, CrossFit, or just speculation? I mean, at this point, there isn't much you can do, even if there are leaks, right? And I will tell you this too, like when I was a volunteer in 2017, there were changes to our events minutes before we went live. Minutes before. So it doesn't mean that just because the event is this way on Monday that it's going to be that way on Saturday. So who knows? But that has been one of the topics that we have talked about on this show for a long, long time, is the conflict of interest with the demo team and the NDAs not holding up like they used to. But we'll see. We'll see. Again, they're bringing them in. They're bringing them in, I think, Sunday or Monday. And so it's not a lot of time to get intel prior to the event. Our old friend Charlie. If you're terrible at something, you're not getting better at it that quick. True. I think where it played in a lot is like the crossover double unders when they were a secret. Some people had the ropes, they needed to do it. Some didn't. It could mean a big difference in just the equipment you have. And here's Carolyn. They normally arrive the Friday-ish, so most likely tomorrow, and we'll begin testing right away this weekend, both team and individual events. Joseph Ramirez, I hope this is sarcasm. All the events for next year's 20th game should be locked down until the first day. No testing, just get it right after it. Yeah, I don't think that is ever going to happen. Yes, the great Carolyn Prevost has arrived. Nick B, four-time gear team volunteer here. Changes are guaranteed on the fly after their war room meetings. Roll with it. Judy didn't realize testing and demo team were different. They are. They're very different. Testing at the ranch is that Dave just brings in like one athlete at a time to run some tests. And if you look at their behind the scenes videos, like he had Raf or Ben Smith do a piece of the workout, and then he had Allison come in. They weren't in there together necessarily. And so he has like one or two people doing some things. When it's demo team, They have like war room meetings. They're trying it on the floor for the first time. Adjustments are going to need to be made. And so he needs this demo team to be able to run through things in a moment's notice to see if it works at the venue. So it's very different. In certain movements, even a day can make a difference. A comp I did last month programmed double taps, the grid movement, and released it a couple days before the comp. I learned them in a day. Well, that's because you're awesome, Lito. I did want to let you guys know that due to demand, I did order some Get Jazzed stickers that I'm going to have with me at the games. And I also have reached out to my designer to come up with a shirt that is Clydesdale Media Get Jazzed. I will not have those by the games. She's just starting the design now, but I'm hoping to have those by the Masters games. And so hopefully we'll have some t-shirts, but I put a rush order on the sticker. So hopefully I'll have those for the games and with me at the games next week. If you're interested in one, just come see me and I'll hand them out for free. So when am I going to Albany? Jody wants to know. So the original plan was to be there Wednesday. I may be adjusting that plan to get there on Tuesday. So we'll see. We'll see. I wanted to be there for the registration if I could be. It's just I got to get another day off of work. Yay, Get Jazzed t-shirts. Need a Clydesdale playing the saxophone, Get Jazzed. Hell yeah, Clydesdale swag. So she's an artist, the person I have do my designs, and she's the one that created the Clydesdale holding the barbell. I just give it to her to see what she thinks is best. I tried not to lead her in any direction. I just wanted to see kind of what she thought of it. And at first she thought jazzed is like sparkle glitter. And I had to no, I mean like New Orleans jazz. So I hope that, I think I have her on the right track now, but, once I get a logo done, I'll put it out to you guys. You can see what it is and, see what happens. Take Clydesdale and turn him into the Zatarain's man. Heard will be at the Masters games, but also in Cognito in Albany. Why did they change the pronunciation of things? It was Adidas my whole life. Now it's Adidas. Now Albany became Albany. I mean, I have family that lives right outside of Albany, and they've never called it Albany. They've always called it Albany. And now I've got to change it now in my 50s. What the hell, people? I know it's not, but I can't help but see that container as a thing of Parmesan on your right. Yeah, those are Lysol wipes, Mark. Those are to wipe down my desk down here. Enhanced arrival time. Nice. Judy, you never have to buy the sticker. It's yours for free. Nick B, Lauren getting enhanced access, fake news or for real? I don't know. I don't know for sure. I've seen things on both sides and I was getting a little worked up about it. And I thought, why am I getting worked up about it? What does it matter if she has it or not? I have mine and that's all that matters. Right. But I will tell you that she did DM me yesterday and we had a conversation. And it was interesting to say the least. But if she does have it, I'm glad she reached out and I wanted to get it out of any kind of beef we had kind of out of the way before we got to Albany. So I don't know whether she did or didn't, but we had a conversation yesterday, and we'll see how that goes. Ta-da. What else do we have? In America, it's Adidas. I think Corey had the best argument. Like when I listen to a Run DMC album, they never say Adidas. So off topic, have you acknowledged the death of the Hulk? Yeah, right off the top, I played him at WrestleMania slamming Andre the Giant, and we said our goodbyes then, Charlie. I know you're probably devastated by that news. Lauren has in hands. She didn't request it. HQ gave it to her. Same with MCU. According to Mike Halpin. Yeah, CrossFit. I mean, it's old. I'm old, but that's what it's always been for me. I blame Tyler Watkins. It doesn't matter if she has access if no one watches the content. I just had to remember that it doesn't really matter. It just doesn't matter for me. I have the access I need to do what I want to do, and she can have whatever access they give her or she takes or whatever. I heard she took your table and you're outside the room again. I don't need a room. Judy Reed becomes a member. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Judy. And you know what that means? Was I put out vignettes from this coming week as we're up at the games. You will get them 24 hours before they release to the public. Members will get them 24 hours ahead of time. Where's Charlie been? I ask the same thing, Traint Olive. I miss that dude so much. Wow. Kevin, quick fact. I grew up in New Albany, Indiana. The settlers came from Albany, New York, and took the New York from New York and the Albany from Albany and call it New Albany. Wow, we have our very own Cliff Clavin. Thank you so much, Kevin. We're in America. We say things however we want to. What you going to do when big Clydesdale runs wild on you? You're going to get jazzed. All right, guys. What else do we got? So there's going to be some cool stuff at the games this year. I just want to highlight that too. I think it's awesome that CrossFit is starting to do partnerships. We knew about the partnership with the Ruck race. Ruck race will be going Saturday morning. If you didn't see it this morning on Savan, he had the Ruck race people on talking about it. It's going at like 5:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. If you want to go ruck with them, and then the day's over and you can get back to everything else. But also we're going to have arm wrestling at the games with Travis Bagent, 20-sometime arm wrestling champion. He's going to be arm wrestling fans for prizes at the arena, which is really super cool. Anytime you can add additional entertainment around what you're doing, that's what growth in your event can be. It's new people, new eyes, more things to do, making it more of a festival type attitude. I think that's what we lost when we went from Madison with this big open area to an arena. They've got to find creative ways to bring back that festival style attitude. And especially if they can do that around Vendor Village to draw people in and be around the vendors to make the vendors happy. If you make the vendors happy, then they're willing to invest more into your event. So, that's awesome. And I hope that you guys, if you're going, you take advantage of some of that stuff. Yes. That's Norm, Jay Birch. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear. My favorite of the Normisms is, what are you up to, Norm? And he says, I'm up to my ideal weight if I was 12 feet tall. What the Ruck? You should arm wrestle Tommy. We'll see. I could do that. We need Travis versus JY. That would be funny. That would be funny. Madison was perfect. I wouldn't say that. I like the open air. First of all, the outdoor field. We talked about our favorite events of all time, and all of them were outdoor fields, which I think says something. Maybe the games need to think about it being an outdoor event in the future. I know you have weather issue, but gosh, you can do so much outside that you can't do inside. But anyway, that arena was so old in Madison, and so many broken seats, and it didn't have all the cool video screens and all that stuff there. The one cool thing about Fort Worth that is going to get lost in everything that happened last year's, you could see replays. You could look up at the big screen and see things like when they ran outside, or it just added a lot to the experience as a spectator. The seats were way more comfortable in Fort Worth. The concessions were way better. And they seemed to be more accommodating to CrossFitters as opposed to just general concessions. So those are some of the things that I think you miss. Yeah, don't tell Cash you're wearing milk-bone underwear. That would be a huge mistake. The street by the arena will be closed to car traffic. Yeah, I heard that. They're going to set up some stuff out there, which is incredible. That's a great way to draw people in, make it easy access to get to things like Vendor Village and some of the workouts and things that are going on. Really, really great. Maybe do it at a venue where you don't build a temporary stadium. Here's what blows me away is the best attended piece of a CrossFit Games was when they did the track event at the high school stadium. There are high school stadiums all over the country not being used. Why not use that type, or a college, like a smaller college stadium? Why not do something more like that so that it's open air? You can bring in the big equipment. You can do all the running and the fun stuff outside. Probably way cheaper rent than it would be to get an actual professional arena. Yeah, Madison wasn't even the nicest arena in Madison. It was a great venue in Fort Worth. Media space was nice as well as on site versus a building over. Yeah, it was a great venue. Every decent college athletics facility is TV friendly, tailgate space, hotels. A military base would be cool, but the access would be a pain in the ass. Bunches of small colleges around Albany. Yeah, I just think it's just a cool concept. We showed last year by doing that track event, and like they had like 16,000 people there. Like that's more than there's been at any other. And that was after the death of Lazar. They still had all those people in the stadium. It just kind of makes sense, maybe too much sense, to look for things like that. It was well attended because it was free admission. Yeah, but it was probably cheaper to rent too. And maybe if you could lower the ticket prices, you'd get more people in the stands. I don't know, just a thought. So the last thing I'm going to leave you with before I have to get back to work is weren't a majority of the events in Carson outdoors. I think they were all outdoors. The tennis stadium was open air and the soccer stadium was open air. Except the ill-fated broad jump. That was a rough year. I get what they were doing, but man, that was not spectator friendly at all. City of Fort Worth was technically free. City and state paid CrossFit, so even better than free. Wow. Yeah, I can't beat that. Last thing I'm going to leave you with is I know people are still digging in to find out what happened. I've reached out myself, but Saxon Panchik, it appears, is no longer with the World Fitness Project. If you look at his Instagram, any reference to the World Fitness Project is missing from his bio, where everybody else who works for them has it clearly stated that they work for them. I know Jenny from Dense Updates has reached out to them asking for clarification on that. And they said due to their employment policies, they could not say what had happened. And I will say this. I've known Saxon since 2016. He was a frequent visitor to my first gym and helped out in charity events there all the time. We became pretty close friends. He's one of the athletes I actually have a phone number for. And when he first joined the WFP, I tried to reach out to him to get a statement and even have him on the show. I did not get a response, which was very unlike him. But every dealing I've had with Saxon up until the last 6 months has been an amazing experience. I don't know what happened. I don't know what made him go to the WFP. It is baffling to me to this day. And now he's left. And I'm really curious to know what the change was that prompted him to go and that prompted him to leave. And I'm hoping that I can get in touch with him about all of that. Whether I can get him on air or not, I don't know. But I'd really like to at least have a conversation with him to find out what happened. One of my biggest criticisms with the WFP is they really suck at timing. You have this big lull from Tour Stop 1 to Tour Stop 2, and CrossFit had a lull, and you didn't take advantage of any of that to be the number one story in the sport. You could have put out content. You could have put out the rec league, whatever it was. Then you wait until right before the CrossFit Games, and you throw out a rec league that then nobody is even paying attention to because we're all in games mode. They are terrible at scheduling things and timing with anything. When they first come out, I wanted to support them enough to see if their concept worked. But their execution at this point has made me give up all hope on them and give up all support of them as we are moving into Tour Stop 2. I have no faith now that they can make anything work. They have blown every chance that they have. Blown it by just shitty timing. We were all dying for content for 3 months. Dying for content, and you couldn't even take advantage of it. Opportunistic in the wake of tragedy, just like Move Max said, shows character of everyone behind it. And I had a rant about that a week and a half ago, maybe. When you build your business on somebody else's tragedy or misfortune, that is not a solid foundation to build a business on. You should be building it on your own strengths, not on somebody else's weakness. So they get off on that foot, and they can't even take advantage of the opportune times to push what they're doing. They've missed it all. Not only was I stunned when Saxon went to WFP, I was kind of hurt. As someone who had drank the Kool-Aid so much to see him like just throw it all away was mind-boggling and hurtful. Well, with that, guys, my lunch hour's over. Time for you knuckleheads to get back to work as well, because karma is a mofo. I thought it was. We'll see if it is. They've kind of let Hulk do that thing where he stands back up after the third time. The ref holds his arm up. CrossFit just stood up and pointed. And as Ernie said, have a great day, y'all. Great show. Thank you, guys. I got to get back to work. You guys get back to work as well. We'll see everybody tomorrow on lunch with the Clydesdale. Bye, guys.